Hi, my name is Graham Smith, and I'm one of the authors that helped develop the learning approach to mathematics that is found in our textbook as well as the video you are about to experience. To learn more about our approach to learning mathematics, visit the web address that accompanies this video. Now, enjoy the video. Percent applications. This video will help you solve a commission exercise, solve a simple interest exercise, and solve percent increase and percent decrease exercises. Solve a commission exercise. Let's start with some definitions. A commission is the amount of money that is earned as a percent of sales. The commission equation comes from the standard percent equation but uses new terminology. So remember, in our normal percent equation we have a percent times the base equals the amount. Well, a commission formula is exactly the same thing, we just changed the terminology here. So our percent now is called our commission rate. The base, or the thing that we're starting with, is now called the sales. And after we calculate the commission rate of the sales, we end up with the commission that a person earns due to these sales. Now let's take a look at some examples that will help you understand how to solve for an unknown value in the commission equation. Example 1. Marcus is selling his house and expects to close on Tuesday. His real estate agent's commission rate is 3.5% of the sale price. If the sale price is $110,000, what is the agent's commission? So again, here's our commission equation. We're going to take the commission rate times the sales to give us the commission. So let's take a look. The commission rate is 3.5%, so we're going to have 3.5%, and we are going to multiply that times the sales, and in this case the sales, that's $110,000. And in this case now we're going to see what the commission is that this salesperson is going to earn. Well, all we need to do is take this 3.5% times 110,000. Before we do that multiplication though, let's change this percent to a decimal. So we would move that decimal 2 places to the left, 1, 2, so that's going to give us 0.035 times $110,000, and that's going to give us the commission this person earns. Okay, so now on some scratch work, we're going to need to take 110,000 and multiply it by 0.035. 110,000 times 0.035. When we do that multiplication, we're going to get 3850. So 3,850, and since we're talking about money now, we want to make sure we put that in there. So $3,850 is going to be the commission that this salesperson earns on the sale of this house. Example 2. Aaron earned 16% commission on his propane sales. If he earned $30,000 last year, how much propane did he sell? Okay, we're thinking commission rate times the sales gives us the commission. Now let's enter that information into the equation. So the commission rate is 16%, so we take 16% of the sales. In this case, we don't know what those sales are, so we'll leave that as our variable. So times S for sales equals the commission earned. In this case, that's $30,000. Alright, so let's first change that 16% to a decimal. So we would move the decimal 2 places to the left. So it starts here, 2 places to the left, so it's going to be 0.16 times S. We'll put a 0 out here to make sure that it's clear that's 0.16 equals $30,000. Okay, now we're trying to get S all alone, so we need to divide by 0.16. So I'm going to divide this side by 0.16, divide this side by 0.16. Common factors of 0.16 are going to divide out and leave us with S. And now we need to do $30,000 divided by 0.16. Well, we're going to come off on some scratch work to do that. So we have 0.16 going into $30,000. When we do that division, we're going to get $187,500. And so over here for the sales that occur, we're going to use a dollar sign, we get $187,500 worth of sales to earn this $30,000 on 16% commission. Now it's time to check your understanding of solving for an unknown value in the commission equation. Hit pause on your video player and answer these guided practice questions. When you're done, hit play to see how you did. Question 1. Kwame is purchasing a car. His salesperson earns a 5% commission rate. If the price of the car is $19,000, what commission will the salesperson earn? So we're thinking commission rate times sales equals the commission earned. So the commission rate is 5%. So we're going to take 5% times the sales. In this case, that's $19,000. And that is going to equal the commission earned. Well, that's what we don't know, that commission earned. Well, so we'll put a C down there for the commission that they're going to earn. So all we need to do is multiply this 5% times $19,000. Well, let's first change that 5% to a decimal. So we would move the decimal 2 places to the left. So that's going to give us 0.05 times $19,000 is going to give us C, our commission rate. So on some scratch paper, we need to go off and work on 19,000 times 0.05. When we do that multiplication, we're going to get 950. So coming back here, the commission that is earned on this sale then is going to be $950. Question 2. Kirk earned $3,200 in commission after selling $200,000 in appliances. What commission rate did he earn? So again, our equation says commission rate times sales equals the commission earned. In this case, we don't know what that commission rate is. So since that's going to be a percent, I'm going to use P for the commission rate. So there's a percentage, which is the commission rate. We're going to multiply that times the sales, which in this case is $200,000. And that's going to give us the amount of commission that was earned, which was $3,200. Well, we're trying to solve for P, our percent here, so we need to get that all alone. So we want to undo this multiplication of $200,000. So we're going to divide this side by $200,000. Same thing on this side, divide by $200,000. Okay, on the left side, that common factor of 200,000 is going to divide out and leave us with P, or the percent of our commission rate. And now we need to do some division. So on some scratch paper, we're going to do $200,000 into 3,200. When we do that division, we're going to get 0.016. So 0.016. So we come over here in our percent and we say, okay, 0.016. However, that is still a decimal at this point. We got a decimal answer. We need to change that decimal answer now into a percent. So we would move this decimal 2 places to the right to change it back into a percent. So we go 1, 2. So as a percent, this is actually going to be 1.6%. So it looks like Kirk earns 1.6% commission on his sales at this appliance job that he has. Solve a simple interest exercise. Let's start with some definitions. When people invest money, Let's start with some definitions. When people invest money, the initial investment is called the principal. In a simple interest account, the principal earns money or interest for the owner after a period of time. To calculate this interest that they earn, we use the simple interest formula. And you can take a look right here. This is how we calculate the simple interest formula. The interest that they earn is equal to the principal, remember, which is the initial investment, times the interest rate, times the amount of time that they have this money invested in the account. Now we abbreviate that. I equals P times R times T. Now let's take a look at some examples that will help you understand how to solve for an unknown value in the simple interest formula. Example 3. Latoya set up a mutual fund to pay for college. The principal at the beginning of the year was $12,000. At the end of 1 year, the account has earned $1,080. What interest rate did the account earn if it pays simple interest? Well, here is our formula for simple interest. The interest that you earn is equal to the principal times the rate times the time. So let's take a look. The interest that we earned was $1,080. And that is going to be equal to the principal, which was right here, $12,000, times the interest rate, which is R, times the time. And in this case, the time was just 1 year. So now if I multiply this 1 times this R, or 1 times anything, it's really not going to change any values over here on the right side. So let's simplify this formula a little bit. $12,000 times R, the interest rate. Now I want to solve for R, which means I want to get it all alone. So I want to undo this multiplication by 12,000. So I'm going to divide both sides by $12,000. Okay, on the right side, that common factor of 12,000 divides out and leaves us with R, our interest rate. On the left side, I'm going to have to do some calculations. So I'm going to go off on some scratch work now, and I'm going to take $12,000 and divide it into 1,080. When I do that division, I get 0.09. So our interest rate right here is 0.09. Now, that is a decimal number. We need to take that decimal number now and convert it to a percent. To convert from decimal to percent, we're going to move it 2 to the right. So the decimal starts right there. We would move it 2 places to the right. So our interest rate that we're going to earn here on this account is 9% in simple interest. Example 4. The simple interest rate on Alberto's credit card is 18% per year. If the principal is $2,500, how much interest is Alberto going to be charged after 1 month? Now we want to be careful here. Notice the interest rate is given in 18% per year, but we want to know how much we're going to be charged after only 1 month. Those units of time don't match. So what we need to do is we need to change this 18% into a per month charge. So we're going to come off on some scratch work here, and we're going to take 18%, and that's 1 year, which means there are 12 months in 1 year. So we are going to divide that by 12 to figure out what our per month charge is. And so we're taking 12 into 18. So on some scratch work here we go 12 into 18. When we do that division, we are going to get 1.5. And so what happens is, if we're getting charged 18% per year, that means we're getting charged 1.5% per month. Now that these units of time match, we have an interest charge for the month, and we're asking about a month. Now we're ready to set up our simple interest formula. The interest that we're looking for, we don't know. So we're going to leave that as I. We do know the principal. $2,500 was invested. We do know the rate. The rate was 1.5%. And we do know the time. That was 1 year, so times 1 year here. Okay? Before we do any calculations, we need to change this 1.5% into a decimal. So let's rewrite the equation. To change that to a decimal, I would move it 2 places to the left. So 1, 2, which is going to give me 0.015. Times 1, it's still going to be 0.015, so we'll leave it just like that. Now all I need to do is multiply 2,500 times 0.015. When I do that multiplication, I get 37.5. So down here in the interest then, we want to write this as $37.50 is being charged on Alberto's account for 1 month. Now it's time to check your understanding for solving for an unknown value in the simple interest formula. Hit pause on your video player and answer these guided practice questions. When you're done, hit play to see how you did. Question 3. Chuck borrowed $175 to buy books for school. He was charged 3% simple interest per month. How much interest was he charged if he paid the loan back after 2 months? Well, we're starting with our simple interest formula here. Let's plug in the information. We don't know the interest. That's what we're looking for. So that's going to remain our variable. The principal, well, he borrowed $175. That is our principal. The rate that he was charged was 3% simple interest. So we have 3% in there. And he's had this loan for 2 months. So the rate of time then is 2 months. All right, let's take a look. Before we can solve anything, we got to change that 3% into a decimal. So we would move that decimal place 2 to the left, 1, 2. So when I rewrite this formula, it's going to be 175 times 0.03 times 2. So now we need to do this calculation. So we're going to take 0.03 times 2 to start. Let's do that. That's going to give us 0.06. Now I want to take that 0.06 and multiply it by 175. So we'll go 175 times 0.06. When we do that multiplication, we get 10.5. So for this loan of $175 after 2 months, he is charged $10.50. Question 4. Andrea has a home equity loan with a simple interest rate of 9% per year. If the principal is $9,500, how much interest does Andrea owe after 1 month? Well, again, notice the interest rate here is given in 9% per year, but they want us to calculate how much she's going to owe after 1 month. We need to change this yearly interest rate into a monthly interest rate. So we're going to take 9%. There's 12 months in a year, so we're going to divide by 12. So on some scratch paper, we would do 12 into 9. When we do that division, we get 0.75. So a monthly charge then of 0.75% interest. Now let's go back and substitute these values into the simple interest formula. The interest we don't know, so we're going to leave that as our variable I. The principal, that's $9,500. The interest rate is 0.75%, and the time here is 1 month. So just like always, we can't do any calculations with percent in our formula, so I need to change that percent to a decimal by moving it 2 places to the left. So we're going to get 9,500. Moving this 2 places to the left, 1, 2 is going to put 2 zeros out front. So that's times 0.00075, and then times 1, that's still going to give us 0.00075. So on some scratch work now, we got to take 9,500 and multiply times 0.0075. When we do that multiplication, we end up with 71.25. So the interest that's going to be charged here is $71.25 for this 1 month. Solve percent increase and percent decrease exercises. Let's start with some definitions. A percent increase is the percent by which the base is increased. A percent decrease is the percent by which the base is decreased. So notice what we're really concerned about in the percent increase or percent decrease is the base, and that's where we start. Wherever we're starting in the problem, that's what we want to use to calculate a percent increase or decrease. And you can see here, here's our formula, a percent change. Now we call it a percent change because this could be a percent increase or it could be a percent decrease. To calculate any percent change, all we need to do is take the change in the quantity and divide it by the original quantity, and the original quantity is our base. Now let's take a look at some examples that will help you understand how to calculate a percent increase or a percent decrease. Example 5. The car's original cost was $14,000. After some negotiation and a rebate, the cost was lowered to $11,900. What percent discount did this customer get? Well, remember, our percent increase or decrease is written like this. The percent change is equal to the amount of change divided by the original amount. Okay, in this case, we're looking for the percent discount, so we don't know what that is. That's our variable. Now we want to figure out, well, let's start with the original amount. The original amount of the car was $14,000. So let's put that into our formula. Now we want to figure out the change that took place. Well, the change that took place is going to be the difference between $14,000 and $11,900. So we want to do this subtraction, 14,000, and we're subtracting from that 11,900. When I do that subtraction, I'm going to get 2,100. So that's the price difference or the change that occurred in this transaction here. So 2,100 is going to go on the top. Now to figure out this percent, we need to do the division. 2,100 divided by 14,000. So again, on some scratch work, we'll take 14,000 and divide it into 2,100. And when we do that division, we get 0.15. So over here, our percent is equal to 0.15, but that's still a decimal number, so we need to now change that decimal number to a percentage. So we would move that decimal 2 places to the right, 1, 2, and so we get a 15%. And in this case, since it was a discount, this is a 15% decrease. Example 6. An engineer tracks quality control at a plant. Last month, 600 defective parts were made. This month, the number increased to 615. What percent increase in defects occurred? Okay, again, we're looking for the percent increase, so we're looking for P. Let's start with the original amount. Well, we started out with 600 defective parts. That's our original amount, so we're going to write 600 in the bottom, and now we want to get the change in the top. Well, the change is the difference between these two values. So we have 615 minus 600, and that gives us a difference of 15. So that's going up here in the top. Now to calculate this percent, we're just going to do this division, 615. So we go 600 into 15. When we do that division, we're going to get 0.025. And so our percent increase, 0.025. Well, that's still written as a decimal number, so we go one more step to write it as a percent. So we would move the decimal 2 places to the right, and we get 2.5%. And this was an increase, so that would be 2.5% increase. Now it's time to check your understanding of calculating a percent increase or a percent decrease. Hit pause on your video player and answer these guided practice questions. When you're done, hit play to see how you did. Question 5. A company produced 70,000 fewer computers than last year. If they produced 500,000 computers last year, what percent decrease has occurred? All right, well, we're looking for a percent decrease, so that's our unknown. So P is unknown. Let's take a look. The original amount that we start with, they produced 500,000 computers last year. So 500,000 was our original value. Now the amount of change that took place, well, they produced 70,000 fewer. So 70,000 is going to go on the top. So to calculate this percent, we're going to do the division. 500,000 into 70,000. And when we do that division, we get 0.14. And so we'll put over here 0.14, and now we need to change that to a percent. So we would move the decimal 2 places to the right, 1, 2. So that is 14%. So this represents a 14% decrease in the amount of computers that were made at this company. Question 6. DeAndre earned $32,000 last year. He received a promotion at work and his salary increased to $36,000. What percent increase in salary did DeAndre get? Well, we want to know what the percent increase is, so that's our unknown value. So we're going to leave that as P. Let's take a look at the starting or original amount. Well, he started with $32,000 before this raise. So that's what we want to have here. The amount of the raise, well, we need to figure that out. So we would do 36,000 minus 32,000. We do that subtraction, we'll get 4,000. So his raise was $4,000. That was the change that took place here. So to calculate this percent, we're going to do the division. We're going to do 32,000 into 4,000. And when we do that division, we get 0.125. And so as a decimal right now, it's 0.125, and now we need to change that decimal to a percent, so we would move it 2 places to the right, 1, 2, and so we get 12.5%. So it looks like DeAndre got a 12.5% raise, or increase in pay, at work. If you found this video helpful, I encourage you to check out our other videos that we have on YouTube, or visit the web address that accompanies this video to learn more about our approach to learning mathematics.